There's a difference between a motorcycle that's built and one that's dialed in. Most Milwaukee-Eight builds can and routinely do make power, but very few deliver control, consistency, and repeatable results on the road and on the dyno. That's why the Impact Wiring Solutions ECU has changed the conversation. And today, fortunate enough to be joined by Ben Lisca, the inventor, owner, the architect behind the Impact Wiring Solutions ECU. We're going to be taking a deep dive into the engineering, the philosophy, and the real-world results that shape this system, including the early challenges. We're going to talk about what went wrong first in the beginning, and what were the deliberate, conscious, executed decisions that ultimately pushed this ECU beyond the limits of what most aftermarket solutions today still haven't yet to overcome. Listen, if you are one that cares about building a Milwaukee-Eight motor that reflects where the serious performance is headed in this industry, this episode is for you. Welcome to the Iron Den. Intro.
Hey, I'm about to go level up. I cannot settle for nothing. I never been regular. Always knew I could do better. I finally made it this far and I'm not looking back. Dated to see all the time that I put in. Now me and the money are way too attached. Still repping 919. The city is mine and I put it all on the map. Coming for what I deserve. I put in the work. Now I'm about to level up.
Hello, I'm your host, Gliding Bear. Thanks for tuning in. Thanks for stopping by the channel. You know, most riders don't notice it at first, right? They build their motor, they add power, and on paper, the numbers look right. But on the road, something's off, man. The throttle response is not consistent. The bike, it behaves differently depending on seemingly what the day is or weather conditions. And no matter how many parts get stacked together, the bike never really feels settled. It's that moment, that realization where today's conversation is going to begin. Because the question isn't whether the Milwaukee-Eight can make power. These machines are making power. We already know that it can. But the real question is, what's actually controlling the engine? You know, for years, performance builds have worked around factory logic, piggyback systems, reflashes, compromised layers on top of compromised layers. But until one innovator stopped trying to work around the system and asked a simple, different question. What if the limitation isn't the parts? What if the control strategy itself is a limitation? In 2023, those questions led to something the Harley aftermarket had never truly seen used on the Gen 2 Milwaukee-Eight platform. This true standalone race-level control device, adapted for real riders, engineered from the ground up with one priority in mind: performance without apology. That system, ladies and gentlemen, is the Impact Wiring Solutions ECU. Listen, in this ECU, there's no factory logic or limitations, no restricted tables, no artificial ceilings or limiters. And the results? They force the industry to stop, look, and pay attention. We're talking about documented, substantial horsepower and torque gains, even on stock motorcycles. The throttle response isn't just quicker, it's direct. Dyno results coming back from builders across the country, ranging from stage 2 builds, exhaust, intake, cams, to big bore creations, pushing the limits on these engines that we never thought were possible. Listen, if you are a builder, if you are a professional tuner or a rider who refuses to accept surface level answers, this is the conversation that you've been waiting for. I want you to get comfortable, because once you understand this technology, you will never ever look at Harley-Davidson performance the same way ever again. So relax, let's get into it. Benjamin Lisca, welcome to the Iron Den. Thanks for stopping by today. I really appreciate you taking time out your busy schedule to sit down and talk with us for a couple of minutes about your ECU there. I know you're traveling. Where are you right now?
Utah, Salt Lake.
Salt Lake. Doing some training out there, right? With some of the guys in your dealer network to get them squared away on the system, huh?
Yeah.
Okay, good deal. Well, you know, I appreciate it. I know you're busy. And let's jump right into it, man. I want to let you know how, my vision for this conversation, how I think it should go. I'm going to be asking 2-tier questions. The first being questions for, those riders who are just now beginning to get into the performance world and understanding the critical importance of tuning. And then I'm going to ask you a few questions regarding, that's more geared to those industry professionals that you deal with each and every day, those experienced tuners and some of the builders and the best builders in this country. And I definitely just want to make sure that everybody has a chance to take something away from this conversation. That sound good to you?
Yeah, let's do it.
Okay, good, man. Before we dive into the questions, I just wanted to take a moment to give you the floor and allow you to tell us a little bit about yourself in your own words. How did you get started in this niche right here, and how did that path led you to where you are today?
Yeah, it's a little bit different than most, but it's a common path. Basically started working on cars. My buddies always loved motorsports, always loved cars. Just needed the gateway to start working on them and learning. So 13 years ago when I was 18, bought my first Camaro, started building cars, wiring them, because we were broke. We didn't, if we wanted nice things, we had to learn how to do it ourselves. So that led into tuning and perfecting my craft with the building wiring harness. And eventually people started paying me to do it. And started building wiring harnesses for Harleys. And when the new 23.5 BVT bikes came, nobody was able to tune them. So we called an engineer friend of mine. He always liked motorsports as well. So we're like, let's develop an ECU. He had a little bit of experience developing ECUs for his cars and Miatas and stuff that he had. So we took it as a challenge. We're like, let's try it.
So I guess, from that's grassroots beginning, and you started working on your own cars there for a while, and it then matriculated to you building harnesses and people taking notice of you. And you made mention that when the new 23.5 came out in VVT, nobody could really tune them. But what were the real options? What were the options? Before, when you said nobody can tune them, there's no other company or no other device that had the capability of seriously tuning this motorcycles? Nobody at all? Did that frustrate you? What made you, how'd you think about that?
Yeah, there were no other real options. I mean, there was the Screaming Eagle tuner, which is a solid option, but you're not maximizing performance. You're still RPM limited, still speed limited. Yeah, you can squeeze a couple extra horsepower out of it, and it opens up some modifications, but it's not unlocking the full potential. It was frustrating because we had this new VVT technology in Harleys, and coming from the car world, we knew that there are both good and bad sides to it. So we wanted to see what it could do. We knew it could make more than a 98 horsepower and 110 foot-pounds of torque, or whatever our bike made. Stop.
Right. Do you think your experience in the car world kind of helped you prepare for this journey you're going down? Like, what was the most impactful lesson in the car world that you would say helped you prepare for beginning to create this ECU that you've created?
Yeah, a little bit. I mean, there are some things that cross over, especially just knowing how to develop a VVT tune was a big one. There's a definite process into dialing in a VVT cam. It's a little bit more involved than a lot of other things, a lot of testing. But it also opened our eyes to like what's possible and stuff that hasn't been done in the Harley world.
Okay, so for the viewers that's watching, right, and they may not fully understand, in your own words, tell me exactly about your ECU and what does it do differently compared to the factory ECU or other leading solutions out there in the marketplace, like maybe a Thunder Max or a Power Vision.
Yeah. So in terms of how it works, the closest it would be is a Thunder Max because it's a standalone ECU. You're tuning the engine live in real time. You're not having to make adjustments and then pause, flash it to the bike like a flash tuner, such as Power Vision or TPS. In terms of capabilities, I don't think there's another product on the market for the Harley with plug and play that comes close. We took stuff that we've been doing in the car world, for 10, 12 years. We're like, why can't we do it on the Harley? You guys are putting turbos on these things. Why can't we do flex fuel? Why can't we do electronic boost control? I mean, these are all commonplace in the cars. So we wanted to bring that and see how we could make it work.
Wow. And in your mind, would you say tuning a motorcycle, whether it's stock or a modified engine from a basic stage 2 to some of these big boy creations that's going on now, how important it is to tune your motorcycle?
Important.
Very important, right? I think it's a teachable moment, man, for those who are new. All motorcycles can benefit from a professional tune, but even what most people don't realize, but even the stock ones, right? And here's my opinion. Correct me if I'm wrong here. Please correct me because of your expertise. But the reality is, most riders, I believe, don't fully understand that when they purchase their Harley or that Harley that comes off the factory floor, it's built under constraint, right? I think there have parameters that they have to operate within where there's noise, vibration, harshness, emissions, federal and global mandates. The bike isn't really tuned for maximum engine performance. It's really tuned to be in compliance. Would you agree with that?
100%.
Right.
You can actually tell that by looking at just the target AFR map on a stock map.
Right.
You'll see where there's spots in the map where it'll be 13.5, and then all of a sudden for one cell it'll go 13.8, and then back to 13.5. So when I was speaking to calibration engineers that did it at the OEM level, I was like, why is that spot right there 13.8 and everything else around it is not? Like, it doesn't make sense to me. Right. They're like, I bet you it's a spot they had to meet EPA compliance. So they just did that to get around it.
Yeah, you're right, man. I think that, it's not because, those engineers at Harley, they don't know how to build it better. I think they clearly do, because if you look at, just a novice guy, you look at the Harley race team, they're kicking butt. So they know what they're doing. It's just, they have to operate within those limits. And, a lot of times the guys that I'm around and I travel around a lot, I'm going to be headed up north here shortly, but, you get a guy that do a basic modification, whether it's just a intake and exhaust, or they just put a cam in their bike. And it's like, man, she's never ridden like this before. This is a brand new motorcycle. And it's because a lot of people don't take the time to tune their stock bikes to really see what it can do. So that's just my take on it. But let's get back to your ECU. And you mentioned that Thunder Max was a standalone ECU, and then you came along with yours, right? And you made the decision to do a standalone device. And back then, I think there was the piggyback systems and the traditional flashing tuning systems. But what led you to decide that a true standalone ECU was the right decision?
I like full control. I like being in charge of the code that controls the engine. So that way we can do anything if we wanted to, like we have the capability to spend some time, build a snippet of code to allow us to do anything. The quick shifter was a perfect example. We had this sensor for the gear position. We were sitting there, well, why can't we use that to indicate when we're shifting or when we're not shifting, and using it to trigger an ignition path?
Right. Well, there are a lot of schools that thought, right, and you like full control, and I know this ECU gives basically full control of this motorcycle and is giving access to a lot of guys that they've never had before, right? And I generally think that's why some of the results across the country are the way they are now, because it's really kind of just opening new doors for a lot of people, right? But you decided to do a standalone ECU, right? And you had to make another decision. And there are multiple, tuning strategies available when you went down this road. And correct me if I'm wrong here, right? But you had the alpha N tuning strategy. You had speed density tuning strategy. You had mass airflow is also out. Can you walk us through how each of those strategies work in a motorcycle's application, and what's the strengths and limitations of each?
Yeah, absolutely. Alpha N, it works. The problem is you can only account for so many variables in the tuning because you're only using RPM and throttle position to indicate flow. So with the speed density system, you're actually modeling the airflow of the engine using intake air temp, barometric pressure, map sensor. So if the bike is in a situation where it's fully loaded up, you have a passenger, you're going up a hill, your throttle might be increasing to maintain the same RPM, but the load on the engine's higher. So how are you accounting for that with an alpha N system? You're not, you're assuming.
And the airflow, tell us about that. What are the pros and cons to the maximum airflow?
Mass airflow doesn't really, I've never really seen it used on a Harley.
Okay. That's more for cars then.
Cars, some BMWs.
Yeah.
Like some BMW motorcycles, I believe. But it's not a technology that's usually
on motorcycles. So out of those three, which one did you use for your system? Speed density. And just to surmise what you said, it's always best to have accurate information in real-time data to tune your bike while you're moving versus, like you said, just throttle response and RPM. That's it, right? A guessing versus truly knowing. Is that correct?
Yeah.
All right. Well, good deal. So there's been a lot of conversation regarding out here. This is a hot topic, and I want your honest opinion on this. Is a hot topic, auto tuning, right? Again, for the beginners out there who may not understand the pros and cons and the capability of an auto tune, can you explain to us and advise us what's your thoughts on auto tuning? And for me, auto tuning, just really quick, and again, I'm gonna lean to your experience. Auto tuning can help with your AFR tables, right? It can help with that, but it can't help with your timing. It can't replace a true dyno session, right, with a professional to get your bike dialed in. Am I off with that, or is auto tuning the way the market, the industry is going to kind of do away with a true actual dyno tune?
Auto tuning is a marketing buzzword. The guy who invented that word should get a raise. But just like anything else that we have, it's a tool. It doesn't replace the human. Like a knowledgeable tuner behind the keyboard, optimizing your fuel and timing for best performance and best reliability will all be better than any automated system. It's great to have. It maintains your AFRs. Let's say if, you have an injector that's beginning to get old, a fuel pump that's aging, or some condition in in the engine or the environment changes. It's a great tool, but it shouldn't be relied as like, oh yeah, put this on your bike and you don't need a tune.
So it's a tool. It's a tool. So people out there, it's a tool, but it's not the complete picture. Is that correct?
That's my opinion. Yes.
Okay, good deal. For the experienced tuners out there who are using your machines, what I've been able to gather from, I've talked to several guys, several tuners who use your product, use it very well, and just the research online and talking to other people out there, they really like the real-time tuning aspect of your device, right? And real-time tuning, different from auto tuning, but real-time tuning. And when people hear that, they don't understand it. Tell us what that actually means and why is that such a game changer in this industry?
It's a game changer because you can make changes in real time. It speeds up the tuning process. It makes the tuning process more precise, in my opinion. So, perfect example. Let's say you're running through your VE table and you see a certain spot that's a little bit lean. You can select that area and add fuel, and the ECU takes it automatically. You don't have to stop, pause, flash, and then restart the process.
So definitely a time saver, more up to date, I guess, right? With technology, doing things in real time. I think that's incredibly important. And I mean, if you can tune in real time, you can also see data in real time, right? You can see things that you need to adjust right now, real time. It's no waiting or right. That's critically important, man, especially that knock. All over I was online this morning, and I belong to a couple chat groups, one specifically with your product, right? And guys are just ranting and raving as always. The testimonials are crazy. When you first saw some of the serious dyno numbers come back using your product, right? Some serious builds, some serious numbers, some serious progress, and the continuous praise, right? You're getting. What did that moment feel like for you? Was it validation, or are you just trying to continuously raise the bar? Like, how does that make you feel when you hear these stories?
It was validation. It was excitement. And like always, I always want to push it. Let's see how much more we can do,
Right. Well, there are a lot of tuners out there like, Power Vision, Thunder Max, TTS, you mentioned before. This is a question, right? They're all at a price point a lot lower than your product, right? Why would somebody want to invest more for the Impact ECU versus another one of those products? Or is there a certain benchmark of engine modification when you should really consider the Impact? There's two schools of thoughts there. What's your opinion?
I'm a firm believer that there's a place for everybody in the market and there's a top for everybody, but with our ECU, we try to over as much capability, where in other areas, like let's say you get a tuner, you would have to spend more money. Let's say you wanted a quick, you would have to, buy the DynoJet module plus your tuner, plus your tune license, or your tune license and your tune. And eventually you start getting to the point where the costs are close, with all the features that would come native in the engine, like nitrous control, boost control, stuff like that.
So this is obviously the current version. Are you looking to improve upon this? Like, is there any other places where you can take the capability of your product, future scalability? Like, are you able to talk about those things right now, or they're still in the works? You kind of keep that close to the chest?
Yeah, we're always looking to improve. I mean, right now we have a big demand for units for the older bikes. So we're definitely working our way back. We're working on the 17 to 20 M8 ECUs.
Okay.
So that's going to be huge.
Good deal.
And we're working on it, adding like the rev mats on downshift in addition to the quick shift.
Okay.
There's a few other things I don't want to get into,
Right.
but I think people are going to like them.
100%. And those people who already have your product, will they be able to incorporate these new changes down the road? Kind of like an update on your phone type deal.
Exactly.
Perfect. All right. So this is, and you've known me. I think I've known you for, wow, I think it's been over a year now, right? And we've got a chance to learn and know each other over the course of time. And I'm just a transparent guy, honest, right? And so this is a part of the show that I want to be frank with you, and I think it'd be good for people to understand this. But as you know, no product has a launch that is exclusively like clean, right? Every business that puts a product out to market, and even those businesses that takes 2 and 3 years to do some research and development, there's still some issues when they go to market. Prime example, Harley itself, right? The 121 CVOs came out and we had some issues with the pistons, right? And, there's some reported issues with the cylinders themselves, most notably the wiring harness that would have a bike go into limp mode. Now this is Harley, and Harley does a phenomenal job of the research and development 2.5, 3 years out before we see anything to the market. So they've really done their due diligence, and still some few things slip through the crack, right? And I bring that up because I think it's important to note, Impact early on had some issues, right? And the community knows this, right? But I want you to tell me in your own words, and be specific if you can, but what actually went wrong in those early years there?
Yeah, absolutely. We were working on perfecting our tuning strategies for V-twin engines. So we came in with the idea that we could approach it like a car, one VE table, one ignition timing table, and we found out very quickly that wasn't the case. These things really require 2 independent VE tables, 2 independent timing tables. They require certain idle control strategies to just create that OEM style, idle and cable. So we also kind of misprioritized the features we thought were going to be important to people. Ride modes, the cruise control. So we learned from that, we implemented that, and are constantly working on improving it.
And I think, and I can safely say from knowing you over a period of time, you are constantly looking to improve it. When these issues came out and they started being known throughout the industry, how did you come to the realization that it was your responsibility to fix these issues?
Well, of course, it's my product. People trusted me with their hard-earned money. The least I can do is do everything in my power to make it right.
And how did you handle customers affected early on? Like, what did you do in your power to make it right?
So I expedited things that were important to them, like the ride modes, 1, 2 complaints, and we prioritized that. We listened to our customer.
You know what, Ben, you are such a humble dude, and you do a horrible job at really selling yourself on how you go above and beyond for people. So I'm going to tell my own testimony, right? So people can get an idea. And I'm going to share some testimonies in this video from online throughout the country that talks about you, your staff, Steve, and the customer service that you guys offer. And on my initial build, I had your product on my bike last year, and that's actually how we met. And I called you and I was like, hey man, I need some help, because there wasn't anybody in Florida at that time tuning your product, right? And so I decided to go straight to you. And that's what I do with a lot of things. I like to go straight to the people that's in charge. And guys, I lied to you not. Ben said, "Where are you located?" So I'm in Florida. He said, "Okay, I'm gonna move some things around. I'm gonna be there in 2 days." I'm like, "What?" Okay, and I got off the phone. I was like, "There's no way this guy's coming in 2 days. I don't know him. There's an issue." And 2 days come by, 9 o'clock in the morning on the dot. "Hey, it's Ben. How you doing?" "Hey, Ben, what's going on?" "I'm here. Are you close to this city?" I said, "Yeah, I'm like 30 minutes away." He said, "Okay, I'll be there." I'm in shock. The guy, the owner of this product that's on my bike, I'm going to meet with him personally. He changes arrangements, he changed flights, and he comes to Florida. I think he may have been on this side of the country anyway. And you came to Florida, man, and you met with your laptop and shorts, and you spent maybe 3.5, 4 hours with me dialing that bike in. And I got to tell you, man, that left a lasting impression on me. And I was extremely appreciative of your effort to try to get things right for the bike. And obviously, those of us in this industry, we love our motorcycles, man, and it's a shared passion. It's near and dear to us. So for you to take it near and dear to make sure you come out and personally address my issue, I just got a lot of respect for that. And you know, there's quite a few guys that share that same sentiment about you. There's quite a few guys in the industry that stand behind your product, but you know, I've known you for a long time. You're a humble guy. You're not going to boast about yourself at all. But I just got to let the people know that your customer service, bar none, stands above everyone else for sure. But in your mind, you know, let's talk about where you overcome those challenges, right? And you self-admittedly we had some issues in the beginning, but we worked through it. And I think the results speak for themselves now. But in your mind, where does Impact stand today in terms of, you know, reliability and industry-wide adoption? Where does it stand today?
I think it's becoming way more commonplace in the industry, and guys are getting more comfortable with tuning them and putting out good tunes with the product. I think it's just as reliable as any other electronic part, you know, any other product available. You know, it's electronics. We've had, you know, 1-2 issues. Everybody has. We work through it and we make it right to the customer. But yeah, I would have no doubt and no qualms about having somebody use my product and telling them, hey, it's just as reliable.
100%, man. If somebody was interested in getting an Impact installed in their motorcycle and getting it tuned, where can they go, or where can they find that information to know where they should go? How can they find your dealer network?
Yeah, absolutely. We have a dealer locator on our website. I can send you a link to include in the description. However, people can also email, message our Facebook page, and give us what area of the country you're in, and we can also recommend somebody.
Good deal. Good deal. I can speak to that as well. Very, very gracious with helping me with that. What does it take to become a certified Impact Wiring Solutions dealer? Is there a certain process tuners have to go through to become that dealer, or do they need to get specialized training in your product, or that's just something that you offer on the go? They call you, make arrangements, and is that how it is, or is there a school of thought prior to them getting that certification?
So we require that they own a dyno. They have a legally registered business. Obviously, they're a legal entity. And our SOP for every brand new dealer is to schedule at least a 2-hour training session, one-on-one, get them used to the product, show them our protocol. And that's typically what we recommend. We also offer classes now where these dealers can be trained to become an authorized, like, premier tuning group. And that's going to be a separate portion on the website where it's like dealers that have gone through this training and are worked one-on-one with us on the product.
Understood. I think there is a specialized, that I've seen so far, a specialized training class offered by another well-known, respected tuner out there, David Crane, and his group offering that class. I tell you what, it's a great deal, and I think it's very, very important to always continue to hone in your craft, right, and sharpen your pencil. And so I'm glad that's being offered. But man, this was a long, treacherous road. Even knowing you over the last year, there's just been a lot that happened, a lot that's going on. I mean, you weather some storms, you're still standing. I mean, you left, a comfortable career, you're respecting and building harnesses, and you had things going on, but you saw a need and you decided to fill the gap. Looking back, was it worth it to you? Was it all worth it? Would you do it again?
In a heart.
Why?
It's exciting. Something I've always wanted to do is build something in the motorsports that makes a difference.
Got you. Has there been anybody that helped you along the way? Any mentors? Any people that guided you along the way?
Absolutely. I mean, there's too many to name, but I couldn't have done it without the support I've gotten from people, and the patience from my dealer network, and the good feedback and suggestions on how to improve the product.
Awesome. So I know in your mind, this is 100% the best ECU, best engine control device out there to date. Then we went through what's different about your product compared to some of the other products out there. Some of the things that your product can do without having to buy additional equipment, like the quick shifter or the data logging or the fuel flexibility sensors, those guys that run E85 and up, all that good stuff. Even the what they call that, when you get to a certain RPM and it'll hold. This racers use that. What's that called again? The two-step, correct. And that's even available in your device, correct? Yeah. And so it's a lot going on with your device, and I think that's a good deal. But yeah, so we reached a segment of the show now where it's called Wide Open Throttle, right? Wide Open Throttle. I'm going to ask you a series of questions, and I just want you to give me the first thing that comes to your mind. Your true, raw, honest answers, this rapid flow, rapid fire. Let's get through this, right? First question. What's the one thing about impact you wish every rider understood?
How much you can truly do with it.
Do you respect your competitors, Thundermax, Power Vision, TTS? Is there a lot of respect there for those guys?
Yes, they've been here a long time.
A lot longer, right? Got to give respect to that. What gets you excited about tuning? Is it horsepower, or is it something else?
Yes, horsepower is great and, kind of pushing the edge. But honestly, to me, it's seeing the smile on a guy's face when the bike's feels completely brand new to them. That makes it worth it.
100%. What scares you more, competition or complacency?
Complacency.
If you can go back and warn yourself before you even started impacting this journey, what would you say to yourself?
Write better instructions and to focus on the features that people really want.
Yeah. Good deal. Good question. On the scale from being satisfied to obsessed, where are you with this impact ECU?
Completely obsessed with the next iteration.
Do you think, eat, live, drink, sleep this tuning? So you are going to another iteration there. So there will be a version 2 soon.
I use the word iteration, like iteration could be a firmware update with features. Yeah. Understood.
True enough. Last question. What would it take for you to stop building or stop creating iterations to your product and move on to something else?
I don't know. I've never had a...
Is that the valuation? I was going to say, that seems like it may be a little short, huh? Okay. All right. Good deal, man. I appreciate that, Ben. We've talked about a lot today. I hope that the viewers got something out of this. And I definitely want the viewers to put their comments in the bottom of the video, and Ben and I will do our best to address every comment that you guys have. We talked about a lot today, man. We talked about where you're from, the problems you saw that in the very early times when that VVT came out that most people weren't willing to even address. We talked about some of the technical risks that you took, the early struggles that you owned, that you took ownership of. I think that's very stand-up of you, man. And the results that the riders are seeing today because you refuse to compromise the engineering. Before we close, I want to ask you something personal. I want to ask you something grounded in reality, right? If you can take a couple seconds and speak directly to those early impacted customers, the riders, the builders, the tuners who experienced those early issues we discussed, those guys who stayed engaged through the rough patches and who believed in what you were trying to build. It now that you've mastered and continue to master and continue to improve upon the product consistently and getting good results, what would you say to those people today that just stuck by you?
It's hard to find words to express how much or how thankful I am to people being patient with the product and weathering the storm with us. And if it wasn't for early dealers and early customers, I mean, we wouldn't be as far as we are with the product. And I mean, thank you. And we got good things coming in the future.
And for that rider out there, again, that person who's, there's a lot of, 131s and 135s out here now because Harley decided to do a displacement bump and guys are really, really getting into performance baggers. And that's the new wave. And that's bringing in younger generation. It's not our fathers or grandfathers, industry anymore. Guys are turning to performance and that bagger league and some of those bikes are just along the same lines as some of those super bikes, right? And performing at a high level. For that rider that's watching right now, he's brand new to all this and he wants to modify his Harley. He's trying to decide, should I go with Impact? Should I go with Power Vision? Should I go with the Thunder Max at TTS or whatever else is out there? Mad lad, he's trying to decide what he should do, but that same guy is seeing and hearing about the inconsistencies and limitations and all the stuff that's going on in the market. What would you say to him from a technical and reliability standpoint? What would you say to make him make a decision to choose your product with confidence?
I don't think you'll find a group of guys more dedicated to putting out the absolute best and most cutting edge product they can, and also making sure we do the customer right. That's like our core values is always task off the value and treat the customer just how you would want to be treated.
100%. Well said, Ben. Well said. Benjamin Lisca comes from a world where precision and reliability, they matter. And but he took that standard and he applied it to a problem in the industry with the new bikes coming out with the new technology and created something absolutely awesome. The path wasn't clean. Early versions had issues, and when that happened, Ben didn't deflect, he didn't disappear. He dug in, he fixed the root causes, rebuilt the system. He earned trust the hard way. Today, riders across the country are experiencing Harleys in ways they never thought were possible. Not because shortcuts were taken, but because compromises were refused. Impact Wiring Solutions isn't only just about chasing numbers, but it's about control, consistency, and respecting both the machine and the rider. And at the end of the day, it's about you, the rider who wants their bike to run the way it should, the builder who refuses to guess, and the tuner who demands real data, real control, in real time. If this conversation helped you think differently about your motorcycle, your build, or your next decision, I invite you to go deeper. Go visit the website. Reach out to reach out to Ben, reach out to Steve, reach out to his staff. Get some knowledge firsthand from these guys versus guys who don't know this product as intimately as they do. And they will make time to reach out to you. Arm yourself with knowledge before you go to any part list and buy any part. Because informed riders build better machines. Ben, I thank you for building something real. I thank you for standing behind it. And I thank you for raising the standard on what we Harley riders can come to respect from our motorcycles. And to everybody watching, always remember, we never stop building, we never stop learning, and we never stop pushing for what's possible. This is the Iron Den. Until next time, Glide and Bear, out.